Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MSP Online Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Chad Lines. I've still got a little bit of that flu voice I had from last week. I'm feeling well, just a little bit congested. So if it's hard to listen or to understand me, I do apologize for that. Before we start, as always, I would like to invite you guys to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find us anywhere just by searching for Epowet, EPOWET, and we always publish a lot of great tips and tricks to help you out with your marketing. And of course, as you know, we're also on Twitter and LinkedIn if you'd like to follow us there as well. So let's do a quick recap like we always do. In the last episode, I talked about local search. We talked about the three types of local searches that a user can perform and the three ways that Google displays results for those types of searches. Now, if you recall, one of the most powerful and effective ways that you can show up in Google is in the local pack. We talked about what the local pack is. When you search for something on Google, you often see a map and three suggested businesses that match your search. That's the local pack. And of course, if you can show up there, that's amazing for your business. We talked about how roughly 1/3 of the clicks on Google go to the local pack and how 2/3 of clicks from the local pack usually result in action being taken. So either a phone call or an office visit. Now, I'm not very good at math. I could do some arithmetic. And I'm going to say that if 1,000 people are seeing you in the local pack on any given day, then you're getting on average about 111 clicks. And that means you're getting about 70 calls or drop-ins a day. That's huge, right? So in the past week, we were actually able to get one of our clients from, they weren't showing up on Google at all, really. They were somewhere on like page 10, right? Way back where nobody's searching. But we've been working with them for just a few months, 2 or 3 months, and we've been able to get their SEO figured out. And this past week, we succeeded in getting them into the local pack for one of their top performing keywords. So of course, I was just as happy as could be, and of course, they were too. Their business is booming. Actually, they're a small company, formerly less than 10 employees, but in the past month or so, they've added 4 or 5 new people. So that's huge. That's awesome for them, and that's what the local pack can do. So what is the secret of getting into the local pack? Well, there are several things that contribute, but the number one thing that you can do to get into the local pack is Google My Business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what exactly is Google My Business? Google My Business is a free business profile that you can set up on Google. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, it is, at least on the surface. The truth is that Google My Business, or GMB for short, is actually quite nuanced. And seemingly small details can have a very large impact on your rankings. But before we jump into all that, I'm going to share some quick statistics with you guys. And hopefully I've already sold you on why GMB is so important. But check this out. GMB, as we mentioned, is the number one ranking factor for the local pack. A very large part of how I got my client into the local pack so quickly is that just in a few months, going from not ranking at all to appearing in the local pack is because we took over their GMB for them and we really got it optimized. And I'm actually going to tell you guys exactly how we did that. 82% of local marketers, including myself, say that GMB optimization is very effective for improving rankings. And 68% say that GMB is more important now than it was even just a year ago. And these stats, again, they come from Bright Local, and they're probably about a year old at this point. So Google My Business is even more important today than it was when those statistics were gathered. And so the fact is that, for better or worse, Google shows a certain type of preference to businesses that use their tools. Of course, they claim that they don't. That's what they say. And, maybe that's true, but whatever the case may be, follow my advice on this, okay? Anyways, a business using Google My Business will always rank better than a business that doesn't. And a business that optimizes their Google My Business will rank better than a business that uses it but does not optimize. So then the question becomes, how do I optimize my Google Business profile? So I'm going to pull back the curtains on this. You'll see the little man at the controls work and everything, and we'll tell you exactly how the magic happens, okay? The first thing that you need to do is to actually set up a Google My Business profile. This is very easy. You go to business.google.com and you follow the prompts. Now, once you get a listing going, you have to verify that listing. And so the way that works is that Google will send you a postcard in the mail, and that's to verify your business location and all this stuff. And so that postcard will have a code on it. So when you get that, you hop back into business.google.com. There will be a place for you to click verify. So you'll do that, and you'll use that code that came on the postcard to verify your business. That's how you get verified. And, up until you get verified, you can add some information, but it's a little bit limited in what you can do. And I've done this several times, and usually it only takes a few days to get that postcard. So you shouldn't be waiting too long. I think maybe the longest I've seen is like 7 business days or so, but usually it's even faster than that. And so once that's done, once you're set up, then you need to work on optimization. And these are 4 things that you really need to get right for your Google My Business optimization. The first is your business name, address, and phone number. So we in marketing, we refer to this as your NAP, right? Name, address, phone number, NAP. And the version of your NAP that you're going to use in Google needs to be accurate, because this becomes like the truth. And when you're doing citation management, which we'll talk about in a few weeks, that what you have here in Google really sets the precedent for everything else that you're going to be doing. So you need to make sure that you've got this right. And if you need to change it, you can. If you change your address, they do send you another postcard to verify the new address. So keep in mind that you kind of want to get this right first time out. The second thing that you need to add, of course, is your website. I think that's a no-brainer. And then next, you want to add some photos that you have. And the ones that are especially important are your cover photo and your logo photo. And there's a lot of categories that's going to let you upload photos for. So Google prompts you to upload things like in the interior of your business, the exterior of your business, pictures of your staff. And honestly, if you can get like 10 photos right off the bat, and then each month try to add a few more, and you can even add them as like posts, which we'll talk about in just a minute, but that's even better. And then the number 4 thing that you need to do is your business categories. And I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more, because aside from actually having a Google My Business profile, the most important element of that profile, possibly aside from your NAP, is your business category and your primary business category specifically. The reason is because that is how Google decides whether or not your business matches local search queries. So you can view or set up your business category very easily. You just log into your business profile at business.google.com. And then in the left-hand menu, there's a space for info. And now we're releasing this in autumn of 2021. If you're listening to this, sometime in the future, maybe this changed, but for now, this is accurate. So you log into business.google.com, and then in the left-hand menu, there's an item called menu. You just click there, and what will happen is you'll see your business name, and beneath that, you'll have the opportunity to add categories. And if you added categories as part of the setup, then they're going to show up there already. And the one that we're especially concerned about is the top one, because that's your primary business category. And that's the one that really has the biggest impact. The other ones are good too. And you should try to, add more if you can, and make sure that they're relevant and everything. But really that top one is what we're looking at. And you want to set that so that it reflects what your business actually does. And not only that, but also the way that your customers think of your business. So if John Doe is online and he's looking for a business and you want yours to show up, what is he searching for? Right? Like what type of thing is he typing in where he's saying, this or that near me? Like, what is he looking for? And that's what you need to think about. And I'll give you guys kind of a shortcut for this. A great way to determine whether or not your business, your primary business category is correct, or kind of you're on the right path, is to search out some of your most similar competitors and see what they're doing for their business categories. The truth is that if all of your business competitors, they're all using the same business category, you should probably use that too. This is not one of those cases where you want to stand out just for the sake of being different. That's not how this particular Google algorithm works, really. So set it thoughtfully, and don't try to be clever. If you see all your competitors doing the same thing, you do it too. Now, I guess an exception to that might be if you know of a search term that your customers are using and your competitors aren't capitalizing on that, and it's worth it to you to use that. But be very judicious in that. And really, that's a really edge case. So generally speaking, if you have 10 competitors and they're all using the same business category, that should probably be your business category as well. Now, for the rest of your Google My Business profile, the rule of thumb is very simple. It's this. It's that the more information you provide, the better off you'll be. So you want to make your profile as complete as possible. And this will include things like your hours of operation, your service area, the types of services that you provide, etc. And doing this is going to, it's really important in helping you to achieve higher rankings. A few other areas that you can focus on in your Google My Business profile are things like your business description, your business attributes, any posts that you make. Now, what a post is for Google My Business is it's any kind of like announcement. They really want you to use this for like promotions, sales, and stuff like that. You can also you can also post pictures there. And when you have that, it just kind of dings Google, like this business is still active. We're still doing stuff. We're alive and kicking, pay attention to us, that sort of thing. And then the last thing that's really important as well is your reviews. And this is actually a huge part of it. I know I haven't touched on it until just now, but the reason is because we're actually going to cover this in a lot more detail in a later episode. But you want to make sure that you have a lot of reviews and that you have a very high rating. All right, so let's move on because there's one other aspect of Google My Business that I really want to cover before we call it a day. And that is Google My Business Chat. So back in June, Google announced that they've implemented this new feature for everyone. It's been in development for a little while, but they've rolled it out now. And that is direct chat via Google My Business. So when someone searches for your business, or rather when your business shows up in the search and people see your Google My Business profile, they'll see a chat icon as well. And you can disable this. Don't disable it though. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about how you can use this, but don't disable it. You want it active because this allows people to simply click on that icon and then they can type in questions for you. They can talk to you about various things. It's just a way for people to connect with you. And again, this is something that you want to take advantage of. If you have, we talked a little bit about how Google prioritizes businesses that use their products in theory, allegedly. But if you have an active, high quality chat and, if your customers are giving you high ratings for that chat experience, who do you think Google is going to prioritize? Your business or a business that has that feature disabled? Google's going to prioritize your business. So how much of an impact is this really going to have? Well, I have this chart in front of me. And it shows one of my clients' Google My Business searches. That is how many times their Google My Business profile shows up in a search. And what this shows is that for this particular client, you know what? I know this is kind of abstract talking about it. I can see this chart. You guys can't see it. If you go to our blog post for this week, which is www.epowet.com/GMB, as in Google My Business, just GMB. That's the post there, and I have the chart there, so you'll be able to see it. But what it shows is that for this particular client, their Google My Business profile showed up in 6,430 searches. Now, about 8% of those were direct searches. That means that these are people who are searching for the business directly by name. And until June, Google My Business Chat was only showing up for those users. And so it was showing for about 515 people within that range. I think it was a 30-day range. So within that 30 days, it had showed up for 515 people. But as of June, that all changes, right? So as of June 2021, again, and if you're listening to this far in the future, then you probably already know about this. But as of June, Google My Business Chat now shows up for the discovery searches as well. So that's where someone searches for the service and the business comes up rather than searching directly for that business name. I hope that makes sense. And for this client, that meant that it was 92% of people who were seeing their Google My Business profile now have that extra ability to interact in this new way. And so that means that the clients who had the ability to chat with them went from being 515 for that month to 6,301. So that's an increase of about 1,223% of people that had the option to chat with them directly. So what does this mean for you? It means that you need to be watching that chat. What happens if someone reaches out to you there and you don't see it until the next day? Well, the truth is that lead is gone, right? Because the thing about local searches, and we've talked about this a little bit before, especially last week, is that people do local searches based on intent. They want to take action. They want to talk to somebody. They want to make some kind of purchase decision or get more information. And if you're not there to provide that for them, they will go somewhere else to get it. And that could result in them with engaging with a different business. And now that business has a customer that could have been yours. So right now, there are really two big ways that you can use to kind of keep a close eye on Google My Business chat. The first one is that after you get your profile set up and you've got yourself verified and everything, install the Google My Business app on your smartphone. And then you want to make sure that you have notifications turned on for that app so that if anyone messages you there, you have the ability to get that notification right away. And then you can respond as soon as possible because you really don't want to leave people waiting. I don't have stats on what the wait time is, but I'm sure it's less than like 10 seconds. Like seriously, like that's the reality of it. It's, you've got a very small window to respond. Now, if you don't want to do that, right? If you don't want to worry about getting these notifications at 11 o'clock at night, which is a possibility, then another thing that you can do is you can use an automated chat service that utilizes AI to respond immediately and intelligently to your users. And so you can set up these kind of workflows and you could say something like, if the user asks a question about this, give them this response. If they ask about, the price of this service or the product or whatever, provide them with this response. If they ask about this other thing, send them a link to this particular page and it'll teach them more about that. And so you can do that. And then, of course, if it's something that's outside the realm of kind of what you're thinking about, then you could say, let them know that we'll be in touch as soon as possible, within 24 hours or within 4 hours or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to set up there. But the cool thing is that you have those workflows that you can create. And then you can also go in and you can review that chat log. And so over time, you even get smarter about what's going on. So you're like, oh, wow, most of our customers are asking about this one obscure feature that we didn't even think to include with the AI. So now we're going to write this flow to handle those types of questions. And so if if you're able to, that's a really good resource as well. And if you're interested in that, that unfortunately, I don't think that's something you could set up yourself unless you're, extremely proficient with, programming and stuff like that and using AI. But if that's something that you guys are interested in, you can reach out to us and we do have someone that we work with that's able to provide that at a reasonable price. So again, you can always reach out to us at www.epauet.com. And, there's a contact page there where you can email me directly even, which is Chad, CHAD lines, LINES at epauet.com. If you have any questions about this or really any questions about anything, I read all those emails. And so, I'll get back to you and I'll let you know. So what have we talked about today? Well, we talked about creating your Google My Business profile by going to business.google.com. That's step one. Step two is to make sure you got those big 4 things right. So you got your name, address, and phone number in there, and everything's correct. You have your website in there. You've added some pictures. Again, try and shoot for 10 and then try and add 3 to 5 every month. You got your pictures. And then you got your primary category right. Now, when you set up your primary category, don't try to be clever. Think of what your customers will search for and scope out your competition to see what they're doing and make an intelligent decision based on that. Don't try to be clever, please. And lastly, you need some kind of way to handle Google My Business chat, whether that's the app on your smartphone with notifications turned on, or if you're using some kind of automated chat service like the one that we offer. Okay, so those are your tasks, for this week. Those are your action items. Set up your Google My Business, look through it, make sure it's good, add all the extra stuff such as your services and your hours and all that stuff, get all that good. And I promise you that's going to do great things for you, especially if you're in an industry where your competitors are not really doing that. And if you're in the MSP and tech services industry, that it's very possible that's the case. And so, a lot of people who are super technically minded are not as much marketing minded. And, that's okay. That's not necessarily what you guys need to be focusing on anyway, but it does leave open a lot of opportunity for you guys. So that's all for today. In our next episode, I think we're going to take a short break from SEO. There's something that I've been dying to talk to you guys about, and it's something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And it has to do with marketing, and it's going to, especially if you're creating your own content. So I think it was episode 2. We talked about how to create content that Google loves. And so, go back and listen to that episode. But also in our next episode, I want to kind of do a deeper dive into creating content, not just that Google loves, but that people love. And so this is something that I love a lot. It's a great topic. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the topic is because I want you to come back and check it out next week for yourself. So be sure to check us out next week. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful week.